Hey folks, I wasn't going to do this one, but I've figured out a way to share it because it's very important. It's the biggest mess up in this season, and I've been asked to delete or edit previous ones, so hopefully this thing works. But anyway, let's talk about it. Same script, different cast. Let's call it that. So there was Jasmine and Aladdin. They loved each other very much, but they were in the teens, so they went through a lot of turmoil. Jasmine went away to college, where she made a best friend, Snow White. They got along, all that good stuff, this and that. But Snow White would know about the turmoil, the breakup and makeups Jasmine and Aladdin used to go through all the time. And there was a time when Snow White came down and she met up with Aladdin to give him the presents Jasmine had sent and catch up and get to know each other and all that stuff. Funny enough, just before he met Snow White, he saw Goldie 2 or 3 weeks before that. And Goldie turned out to be Snow White's sister. Now, he didn't have anything to do with Goldie at that time. He just saw her and he just loved the way she was dancing. The way she just got lost in her dance. It was amazing just to look at. It was beautiful. Anyway, so back to Snow White. Night and them, they all hang, and all of a sudden, happened very fast. Snow White starts telling Aladdin that Jasmine is cheating on you with Jafar. Jafar, the right word, I don't know. That guy wasn't a Jafar anyway. He was like I think he was a Filipino or something. Very bad choice in the person, like a guy. Like it was, when Aladdin saw him, he was like, there's no way. But it turned out to be true. And then it all happened so fast because Aladdin was in his office sitting with Snow White, and suddenly Snow White starts doing things to him. And he didn't know how to react. So he's just like looking and he's like, what is happening here? And then, there was a lot of back and forth through MSN Messenger and calls and everything. She's lying, that one's lying, who's doing this, that. But by then, the strange thing was, Snow White was nowhere near being Aladdin's type, but she knew exactly what to say. She knew exactly what to do. He was blown away. He's just like, wow, you're doing everything to the T that he likes. Later on, he would find out that Snow White had gone through Jasmine's emails and done her research very well on everything that pleases this guy. So props to her for doing that, actually. And then Aladdin would go and see Snow White a lot, but he was more into Goldie from way back before he met Snow White. So he was going to actually just spend more time with Goldie when he used to go see Snow White, because he was into this whole dynamic. Whatever it was some weird ass thing where both Goldie and Snow White, her parents, used to entertain her for the crazy things she used to do. I mean, both of the kids used to do. They used to, especially like Snow White, when she was in a relationship with someone else, he got her pregnant. What did the parents do? They got her to say that she was raped. And this guy went up to Aladdin and told him, like, watch out, man. These people, they have their own little club of weird things going on. The other things Aladdin can remember is Snow White was a ballerina. So she used to do some ballerina moves. Aladdin and Goldie really hit it off with their love for music, especially 2 songs. R. Kelly's Bad Man. That time he used to play on the video, and they used to just love watching that. And a song called My Heart Goes Boom by French Affair, which Goldie really wanted, and Aladdin went out of his way to get it for her. So things happen, and then while Snow White's around, Snow White and Aladdin do things. Aladdin was into clubbing a lot, so he used to take her clubbing. And he noticed this one thing she couldn't fake. Their dance. They were able to dance so well together on stage, because usually couples or people dance facing each other. But on stage, you're facing away. And the dance moves, the beats, everything was just in sync. Like, oh my gosh. Aladdin still appreciates that part. Now, the mom used to make a lot of good food, but the dad was the owner of a restaurant which was very popular back in their lands. Not only that, Aladdin loved one dish so much, and it turns out the dad created this recipe. Now, maybe the chef who worked in that restaurant actually did the work, but who knows? You're never going to know. So he got to eat at the restaurant. He got to eat all to his heart's content. And the first time he ever tried escargot with the little tiny forks, and crazy, crazy, man. And around the same time, Whitney Houston's song came out, same script, different cast. That's what was going on. Aladdin just didn't want to be alone. He found someone who was definitely not his type, but did everything he wanted, was in love with the sister instead, loved the dad's restaurant, the food. He was just it's this weird planet, okay? All that happened, but because of all this drama, someone had naked pictures of Snow White and they posted them online, started sharing them around, and then started making rounds. The mother was outraged. And the mother thought it was Jasmine who did it because Snow White already both confided in each other that they've been rubbing each other's toothbrushes in the toilets and all that kind of stuff, which is a bit strange. And Aladdin used to have messenger fights with Snow White's ex at the same time because Snow White had a partner in Canada. Twisty turns. And then when the naked picture things happened, Snow White's mom calls Aladdin and says, "Hey, I know you have pictures of Jasmine. Can you please give them to me?" I'm like, no, these are secret ones and this and that. And unfortunately, after a lot of talking on the phone, Aladdin, like a dummy, like a real dummy, one of the biggest screw ups he's ever made. He actually took those pictures and dropped them off to the other side. Even though she said she's not going to do anything, he's like, yeah, but she said she's never going to do anything. What a dummy. He should have known, should have followed his instinct and just not done it. But he did it. Did it like a doofy. What a doofy. My gosh. Even now that I think of it, I'm just like, that Aladdin just needed a few slaps. So because of that, that was one of the biggest cracks in the relationship. There have been a lot of cracks in the relationship, and the relationship has somehow fixed between Aladdin and Jasmine. That was, how could I betray? How could he betray her like that? My gosh. It was cracked on both sides because even he didn't feel good about it. He was like, I don't know how I'm going to recover from this. He just didn't know. And after all that happened, even Snow White, the mom, they all shunned Aladdin. They changed the whole story. They're like, yeah, see, he intentionally gave it to us. He wants to take her down. This, that, what? Aladdin didn't know what to do with all this. The mom turned out to be Jafar. A crazy ass Jafar. And Aladdin turned out to be Iago. Okay, no, that's a bit too twisty. But anyway, after that whole fiasco, it was so strange to try and understand because some guys were secretly saying, "Oh, I am the one who shared Snow White's pictures, so Jasmine had nothing to do with it." While Jasmine is like, "Why did I have to get involved in this?" Luckily, the pictures between Aladdin and Jasmine, they were not as revealing as Snow White's ones. Snow White was actually very skinless, while Jasmine and Aladdin's ones were more romantic. After that, Jasmine's dad really didn't like Aladdin. If he didn't like him before, now he really did not like Aladdin. Coming to think of it, it's a very strange world where all these people actually enjoyed and found entertainment in all this stuff. It actually gave them energy and juice. But look, things happen, mess ups happen, things have been forgotten. Hopefully, also fully forgiven. But if not, there's always time to talk and heal. I actually don't know how to end this one. Like, it was one of the biggest mess ups. And yeah, even though there's been a lot of infidelity from Aladdin's side, he was never able to go all the way with another woman, no matter what, until a very long time after breaking up with Jasmine. So he was very close to doing the same with Snow White, especially after the tricks she pulled. My gosh, still, he wasn't able to do it. And he would rather do it with Goldie anyway. So there are a few things. I think there's some sentimental stuff that Snow White did give Aladdin. As per always, Jasmine and Aladdin get back together after dealing with all the dramas and they carry on to their next roller coaster. So I shall see you in the next one.